What's good, everybody? Before we get started on today's episode of Veterans Minimum, big ups to the members of the Patreon. We got Arabia, Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Thomas Robinson, Abel Rezin, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Derek Platees, Devin Rendon, Dylan Chadwick, Jerry Shapiro, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Nick Crummage, Nicholas Messina, and we got two new members. We got Zaliki and Mr. J _805. Thank you for your contributions to the Patreon. Remember, guys, $1 American. That's all we ask for. We don't ask for a lot. George, is that asking for a lot?
It's not asking for a lot. That is 100 pennies. And the penny's going away. So actually, you can't even use pennies. 4 quarters. Think about that.
4 quarters, $1. Like, you don't even realize that. If you don't realize $5 on your statement every month, you won't realize $1.
Facts.
So yeah, if you're gonna give it anywhere, stop giving it to the girl at Sapphire and Crazy Horse 3. Give it to us. Give it to us. We'll show a little nipple for $1 or $2.
Yeah, I mean, I've shown nipple on the show before.
Yeah,
Go find the episode.
Yeah. You got excited. We gave you some merch. Guy took off his shirt. That's how we get down sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Okay, on today's episode, we're gonna discuss some football, and we're gonna plan the future as future tellers that we are.
Yes.
We're going to predict who's going to be next year's this, right? Who's going to be next year's Eagles? Who's going to be next year's Panthers? I know it sounds weird, but just bear with us. It'll all make sense. Who's going to be next year's 49ers, right? A team that had a 10.5 win total and it went under. So we have fun on this one. And of course, the Giants are rumored to get a quarterback. 5 years too late. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and play the theme music.
Yeah. Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah. Now this the black sheep, sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
Yes. We got to work on that cue a little bit, Brian, but it's all right, man. You haven't been around
I
for
slid
a little
early. I think I messed him up because he could see me in the preview window. I started sliding early. I was halfway across.
Brian hates when I call him out on stuff like that. Guys, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm getting the middle finger there. That's a Stone Cold Steve Austin salute. To anyone else, they get offended. To me, it's like a cosign.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always like it. I love it. Veterans Minimum, the #1 sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, Nick Dais, a.k.a. Mr. 3 times Offensive Player of the Year in a row. One day we'll get our roses, but until then, I'm going to just pat myself on the back, George.
Yeah, I mean, you can't necessarily be satisfied, Nick. And I think that's what I don't want you to creep into because I'm already sensing it. But I mean, you try to humble yourself at jiu-jitsu. Let me just say, crazy to get 4. Can we get 4 Offensive Player of the Years?
The bar is set really high.
It really is. It's a 1 year at a time. You can't think past that, right? So I'm not telling you got to win 8, right? But I'm just telling you, the run that you're on right now, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Work even harder. And once you've hit 10 in a row and you're sitting at the top of the mountain, only then have you just begun. Think about it that way.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this.
See,
Don't get complacent.
Don't get complacent, bro. I'm just giving you a whole bunch of coach talk right now. But, sometimes coach talk's the right talk.
It is. You need it every now and then.
Facts.
You got to get it. Thank you all for supporting the show. I say it all the time. It means a lot. The football season ended year over year. My main goal is to just continue to grow. And that's what we did. Great numbers. Shout out to social media manager George. Absolutely crushed it on all the social media platforms. Thank you all for sharing the content, leaving ratings, reviews, subscribing, joining the Patreon for $1 American. Goes a long way. We're going to continue to have the Discord pop in. Like, we got a couple questions here I want to surprise you, George, with. I didn't tell you any of these. But yeah, man, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, fucking everywhere, right? It's at Veterans Minimum. So thank you all for listening. George, I got a question from the Discord.
Yes. All right, I'm ready for it.
How would you change the NBA All-Star game? Would you make it entertaining for the fans or more towards what the players want? This is from No Show Thomas. Shouts to No Show Thomas, friend of the program, fan of the show, member of the Discord. You heard his name before being mentioned. How would you change NBA All-Star as that is creeping up on us?
Okay, is it changing the game or is it changing the weekend as a whole? Because I think they do a relatively good job of the slam dunk contest, the skills competition, the 3-point contest, obviously. Those have been the staples, and I'm a fan of that. I also like the Team USA versus the world, which used to be rookies versus sophomores. I liked it better as rookies versus sophomores. Didn't you?
I did, yeah.
I think it had a little more like of an understanding. It's really sad to see like how the United States stacks up against the stacked fucking world roster. We're kind of bad. But aside from that, I would probably shorten the game up a little bit. It's not like we are like in love with having to get to the last 6 minutes of the NBA All-Star game. Shorten it up. I think the players would like that. You could still add the elim ending. And then shit, dude. Maybe have the Globetrotters teach them a little something, you know? Like some showmanship. Because they just go out there and it is pretty boring. The long outlet passes to half-assed alley-oops. What if we saw like John Morant and Luka doing like the fucking spinning around in a circle, tossing the ball, shooting the ball backwards? I wouldn't mind some of that. They don't give a fuck.
Right.
They would do whatever.
Sure. You're talking to someone that my favorite bet year in, year out is the over in the All-Star game.
Yep.
So I've loved it. I like that there's no defense. I like that they shoot 3,000 3-pointers.
Yep.
It doesn't bother me one bit. My whole thing has always been it's an all-star game. Why the fuck do you care so much that they don't care? It's a celebration of the league. A lot of the guys unveil their new sneakers or their new collabs or partnerships. Guess what? The player empowerment movement started at an all-star weekend. When they're like, yo, bro, we actually get along, dude. We should play together. You're a free agent in a year and a half. I'm a free agent. Should we link up with D Wade in Miami? Yeah, let's do it. South Beach is dope, right? 8th Street Latinas and all that stuff. It's cool. It's fun. It's a good time. No state taxes. Let's do that.
Yep.
So to me, I've always liked the All-Star. It's a celebration. It's not serious. They don't take it serious. Yeah, it's not what it was in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Guess what? A lot of shit isn't like it was in the 90s. You used to smoke on planes in the 90s.
Very true.
Life has changed. Shit has changed. And it's going to continue to change. To me, I don't mind it. This is my answer to everything. Don't watch. Right? Don't watch. We got the numbers back from the Super Bowl. Highest viewed Super Bowl. What did everyone say Monday after the AFC and NFC title game? I'm not watching. Fuck the Chiefs. I don't like the Eagles. Not that a lot of people didn't like the Eagles, but you know, Taylor Swift is going to be there. Don't watch, bro. Don't watch. You know who did? A lot of people. Highest rated Super Bowl of all time. And guess what? Next year's, it's just going to continue to grow. It's the evolution of the game. So to me, my answer has always been, yo, don't watch. I don't consume things I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really that simple, bro. If there's something I don't like, if there's something people enjoy and like, yo, do your thing, bro. I still watch wrestling. I'll be 34 in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I get excited for Monday Night Raw on Netflix now. Let people be. And if the All-Star game upsets you because no one plays defense and no one goes hard, and back in my day, then, bro, change the channel, dude.
I mean, nobody's that upset about All-Star games anymore. I think we've started to approach the generation where it's all just like fugazi nonsense. Let me ask you this, because you're like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. A perfect example for me is like, I don't know what the NHL All-Star weekend looks like. Do you?
No.
Okay. Well,
I
I
know
was
they
going to
do-
ask you like
and
what
I
they
don't know-
did because
and
I
I
have
don't know-
no clue.
Yeah, and I don't know if they still do it. I think they do, but like they used to have them take the slap shots and like the hardest slap shot, and then they would do like the skills contest where it's like top corners, bottom corners, like shooting.
Right.
Like that's dope, right? Like I love the skills competitions and the Pro Bowls that they used to have, like the targets.
Same.
Like that's
Who throws ball far? That's
Yeah.
what one of the Pro Bowl competitions used to be.
Yeah,
Who throw ball far?
yeah. Stand right here and let's see if you can throw that shit 100 yards. Can you? No, 83
Boom. They
yards.
Put the little
Dope.
stick down.
Yeah. So that's the kind of shit. So I like
I agree.
going back to the All-Star game. I love the 3-point contest. You know,
Yes.
another reason why I like the 3-point contest? Some big names participate in it.
Yeah, because it's
Dame
easy on the
Lillard's
body.
been in it. Yeah, Clay's been in it. Fucking Steph Curry's been in it. Like that's what you want to see. I think last year was dope when they had Sabrina Ionescu from the WNBA go up against Curry.
Yeah, I mean,
That was fire.
yeah, it was. I mean, it was almost the biggest mistake in NBA history.
If she would have beat him.
No, if Steph would have beat her by like 30,
Oh,
because it wasn't a part of the contest.
right.
It
It was
was-
just like a
was its
one-off
own
special
one-off-
occasion.
That's why I was like,
Right.
good thing she won.
Yeah.
It could have been a really
Yeah.
bad look for the NBA.
And then like in the dunk contest, bro, like there's no big names. There's no big names in the dunk contest like it used to be. So like when you don't give a fuck, how are we supposed to give a fuck? And that's the biggest issue that the NBA runs into. And I know we kind of digressed a lot because they asked like what changes we would make. I don't think financially you can make any changes to it.
No.
Because I saw this video of Micah Parsons talking with, I think, Bijan Robinson. And they were like, yo, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL. And he makes ninth guy off the bench. Not ninth guy off the bench. Eighth or ninth guy on the roster NBA money.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show you
Puts it
how
in
crazy
perspective
the
real quick.
bag is in the NBA. Like Jimmy Butler bitched and moaned his way out of fucking Miami. And he's going to make $60 million a year.
Yeah.
Which rightfully so. You deserve it, bro. You get your money. And then Brandon Ingram just signed with the Raptors, 3 for $120 million. So he's a $40 million a year player. That's wild. That's crazy. The
Has
money
this
in
game
the NBA.
evolved at all? Like, I feel like I haven't like Brandon Ingram, low-key has been the same since his entire career. He actually has been
Yeah.
that same player.
Yeah. Well, the Pelicans have been just such a big disappointment because if you look at the roster, there's a lot of guys that you like, right? CJ McCollum's on there. Ingram was on there. Obviously Zion. And they've hit on a couple draft picks. And then it's like no one's ever available or guys are hurt. Guys are bitching. Guys play one game and then they miss. And that goes into a whole nother discussion about the NBA. I do have one solution to it, right? The world versus the US, if they actually played a game, that'd be dope. But then again, like there's not that many world all-stars.
Yeah.
Because if you had 12 European and 12 world players against 12 NBA players that are all-stars and are American, it's like, eventually we're going to have like fucking Dario Saric having to represent the world team because we just don't have enough names. Now, the starters on a surface are lit,
Of course.
but you start reaching. You know what I'm
Agreed.
saying? Like you start reaching a little bit. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, you can't swing them with its incentives because they make a shitload of money.
Mhm.
And I just think that it's something that you're just gonna have to either consume or not consume and just stop whining about it.
Agreed. I'll add this one thing: a game of horse, like a 5 shooters in an arena game of horse. I think that could be lit. It could go on for a long time too. So, this is something that you got to do the first year. LeBron, Luka, Giannis, Steph Curry. Add one more player to that. And then that's who needs to play horse at this next All-Star game. Instead of the dunk contest. It's kind of like the dunk contest, but it how cool would it be to see them do a blindfolded shot from half court and hit it? You know, you can make some cool highlight moments from your superstars doing cool shit.
You know what else
Fun
would
to
be lit now that I'm looking at the NBA All-Star roster? Because if you look at it, right, there's 6 international guys on it. You got Giannis, SGA, remember he's Canadian, Jokic, Sengun, Siakam, and Wembanyama. That's 6. You know what would be a dope idea? Find 6 from the American side, play a game of 21.
I like it.
Old school basketball. Every shot is 1 point. 3-pointers are 2 points.
And the game doesn't stop either, by the way. No TV timeouts. You guys play until 21 is hit.
You play until 21, or if you want to play until 50, right? Whatever it is, you keep it simple like that, and then because then it'll be fun, right?
Agreed.
A team of Giannis, SGA, Jokic, Sengun, Siakam, Wemby, like that's lit. And then you pick and choose. You got Mitchell, you got Trae Young. You got Jalen Brunson, obviously Curry and Durant and LeBron. And it's like, all right, this could be cool because there's only 6 of them that are
You got to
international.
choose a matchup, though, for Wembanyama.
There is no matchup, bro.
You toss in Chet. Little Chet Holmgren act.
Well, like you have Anthony Davis here, but he's hurt now,
yeah.
right? So like that's how it could be something that.
Could be
But is
fun.
that? Do you take that away from the All-Star game, or do you just make it a one-off like how they had Sabrina and Steph?
Just make everything a one-off. So that way, if it doesn't work, you can quickly separate yourself from it.
I like that. I like that too.
Yeah, I just think do a fan selection. The NBA is so like I feel fluid with the way that they've conducted their All-Star game. Nothing like the NFL. The NFL went like crazy.
Yeah. It's a
They
whole
went-
different game. Yeah.
They went crazy.
Yeah.
At least basketball is still basketball, you know? So
Some would argue it's not. Some would argue it's not basketball at all, and that's the problem.
what if we did a smaller hoop? It can only fit because a normal basketball hoop can fit 3 actual basketballs
Yeah.
inside of it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Then it kind of changes like the shot dynamic. You know how like a lot of people bitch and moan about their best players going to home run derbies because then it changes their swing. And a
Right.
lot of guys like maybe they're batting 320 going into All-Star, and then they compete in the home run derby, and then they're batting like 178.
I would argue this makes it better. It would make your shooting better.
Yeah, way more pinpoint. There's a guy, Lethal Shooter, on Instagram who like he
Of
shoots
course.
into fucking like he'll shoot and it shows the basketball like barely fit. Like it needs to be
No
perfect.
backboard either, right?
No
Like,
backboard,
it's just like
spikes will
on a
fuck your
telephone
basketball up.
pole. Yeah.
Yeah, shit like that is interesting. So I know we went all over the place. Let us know how you guys would change NBA All-Star Weekend with that coming up. And yeah, man, I just think like my solution to everything, George, is I don't watch if I don't like something. I think sometimes it's that simple for me.
Facts. Yeah, I agree. I
Okay.
agree.
Let's discuss some NFL. So we have a fun segment of things we're going to discuss. If you heard the intro, it's basically teams that perform the way they did this year. So there's like themes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be next year's edition of the Eagles, the Commanders, the Bills, the 49ers, the Titans, and the Panthers? We'll explain each of them when the time comes.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, George, I want to ask you something.
Okay.
The Chiefs and the Eagles just played in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. Who's more likely, you think, to get back to the Super Bowl next year? I think we've been spoiled by Kansas City
Yeah.
that have made it so effortless to be in 5 Super Bowls in the last 7 years. It's hard to go to the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
The Panthers, now it's a decade since they went. The Giants went in 2011.
Mhm.
I celebrate if they win 8 games now. The Saints last went to the Super Bowl as he got his Super Bowl. Wow, let's go. 2009. Bro, you know what's I just noticed your shirt. I just thought it was a regular Saints shirt, but yeah. Okay, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. No, it's a goodie. It's just it's been a while. It's been a while. Chiefs fans, buckle up because I
could
feel
be. It could be.
I'll take this over, like I think for the Chiefs the veil has been pulled back and it's not their main asset, which we'll discuss in detail a little later on. Like Pat Mahomes, obviously stable. It's the Travis Kelce. Are you really going to rely on Noah Gray? Is he taking a step up? Pacheco was hurt this year. Is he going to come back at full strength next year? Your offensive line looks suspect. Chris Jones has been rumored to possibly retire. DeAndre Hopkins, same thing, where it's like, I don't know. They're at that point in the age where you would love to have them on your team, but at the same time, you're also like, we got to move on. You know, this isn't future thinking of us. So all that being said about the Chiefs, the Eagles don't necessarily have as many of those issues on their roster. And so I would say the Eagles are more likely to make it. What about you?
I would agree with you.
Okay.
I would agree because also you got to look at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying this for the last couple of years that the AFC is just so stacked with elite quarterbacks. And the road through that is going to eventually, you're going to like, bro, we got Lamar versus Josh Allen in the divisional round.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't have Burrow, who usually makes the playoffs when he's healthy. There's a lot, right? Like, say what you want. Justin Herbert could be in that conversation as well.
CJ Stroud has won 2 playoff games.
Yeah. CJ Stroud also. Let's not forget how we felt about CJ Stroud this time last year, which you'll be reminded that's in just a little bit when we get into our segment. I think it's definitely the Eagles because also you got to look at it as what might they lose, right? So defensively, these are the Eagles free agents. Josh Sweat, Brendan Graham, Zach Bourne, Avonte Maddox, Isaiah Rodgers, one of us. He's a degenerate gambler. We fuck with him. Milton Williams, defensive lineman. And then on offense, it's Kenneth Gainwell, Mekhi Becton.
Which I think if you're going to prioritize any of those signings, even though Josh Sweat had 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl, which talk about stepping up when it mattered most.
Yep.
You not only won yourself a Super Bowl, but you
showed out now as a free agent.
Pay me.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Graham, who was injured for that back half of the year, who made the appearance in the Super Bowl like that. I think I choose Sweat over him, but you got to find a way to pay Becton. I mean, the dude shifted from tackle to guard seamlessly. To Sirianni's credit, he was the one credited with making the move, but you got to keep your offensive line fucking rock solid, but he's going to be worth a pretty penny.
Yeah. He'll be worth a pretty penny. To me, I think you got to bring back Zach Bourne. He was just an all-pro. He was a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. But you got to give credit to that front office, man. Howie Roseman. I mean, they've hit on so many either draft picks. Bro, let's not forget the greatest draft day video of all time was when Philly passed up on Justin Jefferson and Mike Zimmer and all those guys in Minnesota started laughing. They're like, holy shit. They didn't take, because they took a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I forgot who they took. Jalen Reagor. That's who they took.
Yeah.
They took Jalen Reagor, and Minnesota was like, oh my God, Justin Jefferson is there. The next Randy Moss coming out of LSU. And so imagine if they had him too. They probably don't get A.J. Brown, so there is that dynamic also. Maybe they don't draft Devontae Smith.
Yeah. But
still, right? Like, dude, consistently, they replace guys, and they're loaded, bro. They're loaded. And look, Josh Sweat coming off a monster game, you let him walk, I think he'll be able to revamp that defensive line as they have, right? They'll just take some fucking guy from Georgia again and be like, oh, look, he had 10 sacks in the SEC for the Bulldogs. Let's bring him over here. He'll join the rest of the fucking Georgia defense that we got over here.
Literally.
So I think for me, honestly, bro, I look at this and, you know, Mekhi Becton, hell of a season for him. He was a bust until he got to Philly. So does he look at it as like, hey, man, I could get paid, go somewhere else, and I don't have that same infrastructure around? Or do I stay here, take a little bit less money, and I'll be on a championship team once again and look at the talent that I have around me? I look at this kind of shit, and I'm like, yo, there's only one guy I would really bring back.
It would be Bond.
Bond, yeah. And then on the flip side, when I look at Kansas City, it's like, notable key free agents this offseason: Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, Justin Reed, Hollywood Brown, D-Hop, Omenahu, Kareem Hunt, Juju, Mecole Hardman, P. Ryan, Carson Wentz. There's 2 names I'd bring back. It's Reed and Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
Marquise Brown, you were barely there. D-Hop, you got there late. Juju, we signed you off the couch. You came back. You had some catches. Mecole Hardman, we traded you, brought you back. You scored the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. And then, like, whatever, we barely had you. Let's not forget, this team got worthy.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting back Rashid Rice, who I said in the offseason, I think it was like, yo, this guy's going to be a $30 million wide receiver at some point. And Kelsey's going to contemplate what happens in his future. But they have 5 players, bro, Kelsey being one of them, that are like 65% of the cap hit. The other one is Chris Jones, Pat Mahomes, Creed Humphreys. So they're going to have some decisions to make. To me, ultimately, though, it's Philly that I think is the most likely to be back.
Yeah, it's the confidence level now. It's a whole bunch of positives. Kellen Moore being off the team and not being their offensive coordinator isn't going to hurt him at all, or will it?
I don't know, because Jalen Hurts now is going to be his 9th offensive coordinator. I think I read 9th offensive coordinator in 10 seasons, like going back to college.
That's insane.
So
He's used to it.
He's used to it now, yeah. Hey, I still got 26 right here. Handoff.
Would you, after, like, let's say a situation, because every Eagles free agent you brought up, I was thinking, okay, if I just won a Super Bowl for them, is it worth it to stay, or would you want to chase more money? Now that you've already won one, what would you choose?
So this is like a Mount Rushmore drunk bar conversation.
100%.
Ring versus money.
Yes.
Right? It's like an all-time. You always get new information. The narrative always changes. I'd probably chase the money. No, not probably. I'd definitely chase the money. Once I got a ring, fuck you, pay me.
Okay. All right.
Now, if I'm 33, which I am now, but say I was a 33-year-old quarterback and I've won an MVP, that's another debate. Ring versus MVP. Which one would you rather have, right? Because Cam Newton brought that up, which we'll save that for the offseason. I would always chase the money. Like I've said many, many times, I think everyone that tells us money doesn't buy happiness wants us to stay broke, because the happiest I've ever been has been the last year and a half where I'm finally making some money and I'm able to help my family, help friends, have bills come my way. And I'm like, fuck, this sucks. I got to pay it, but it's also not going to send me back 6 weeks.
Right.
And I've told this story many times, bro. I swear to everything I love and to Veterans Minimum. Y'all know how much this means to me. I'm holding my phone here. I would go out with friends, with girls, with my family, with anyone. The moment I would pay for something, I'd open up my Chase app and be like, oh, fuck. Maybe I could get a couple more drinks tonight, but then I can't go out for the rest of the month. Like, it was like that for me. So I'm a firm believer in money buys you happiness. I don't know. At least my personal experience, it does.
If money buys you happiness so much, would you pawn your Super Bowl ring?
Bro,
so you
guys
could be more happy?
Guys pawn their rings all the time.
So you'd be one of those?
Bro, I think Plaxico just offered to pawn his ring.
How long would you keep it before you pawned it?
If I have the money, though, I wouldn't pawn it.
But you just said money buys you happiness.
Right, but I'm saying
why not have more money?
If I'm dead broke, though.
I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, but if I'm broke, no, I see what you're saying, and I like it because you're making me think. If I ran out of money, like you hear all these horror stories from athletes who like blow hundreds of millions of dollars and then they're pawning off their rings. I get that, but if I'm chilling and I have money, I'm not gonna pay it off. Like, dude, Jalen Hurts apparently still lives in the apartment or the house that he first got drafted to. Like, there was a New York Post report about he pays $2,000 a month for his rent. It's like he just signed for $255 million.
Right.
And it's Cam Newton's become one of my favorite like post-playing career commentators and analysts. And he's like, yo, it was the Justin Jefferson video. We spoke about this a couple of months ago. He's like, yo, when you sign your contract, where do you plan on spending most of your time in the offseason? That's where you buy the 12-bedroom, $8 million house.
Have the boys over.
Have the boys over, chill, throw fucking ragers. But when you're in Minnesota, you're in New York even, and like you plan on living in Vegas or Miami, that's where you want to buy your house. So to me, I would pawn off the ring immediately if I needed the money, for sure.
Yeah.
Guys do that all the time. But if I have the money, I'm not going to pawn off the ring.
Honestly, I'm sentimental. I'm complete opposite. I would stay, collect the rings. Legacy lives forever.
Yeah.
Can't take money with you. Money doesn't make the legacy.
Oof. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. And that's true, right? Because like whenever someone goes into the Hall of Fame, it's the list of accomplishments.
It's not
he signed
amount.
He signed for $300 million. So yeah, that's a hell of a take. That's a hell of a take. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I do want to get more into this conversation later in the off season.
I do. I do as well. I do want to ask you this one question.
Good.
To segue us in. Can we still consider Patrick Mahomes the GOAT?
Bro, I hate this conversation so much. I hate this conversation so much. Can I give you a counter to that?
Sure.
Nick Dais, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm no longer having GOAT conversations about anyone until they retire. I'm not doing it.
It's fair enough.
Because I don't think so. Everyone is saying Mahomes can't be the GOAT because he lost his Super Bowl and in the fashion that he lost his Super Bowl. My counter is his career's still young, right? He's not even 30 yet. What happens if he wins the next 2 Super Bowls? Just saying. He's already won back-to-back. So let's just say he wins the next 2 Super Bowls. He gets to 5. Now the conversation is back. Do you see how things change so quickly? Right
Yeah.
now, Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. If he would have lost this, it's like, oh, look, even with all this talent, he can't win. He's not a franchise guy. So one game or one series determines everything, whether it's fair or not fair. That's the nature of what sports are and sports media is. I think it's lazy, bro. Like, dude's been to 5 Super Bowls before he turned 30. Okay, he's 3-2. Is it worse if he didn't make the playoffs? It's the old LeBron debate I would make, right? And as I've gotten older and I've watched The Last Dance now, I think like 17 times, no exaggeration. Every 3-4 months I turn it on, and every time I watch it, I gather more info, and I'm like, it's probably Mike. It's probably Mike. Sorry for wasting everyone's time. But it would always be like LeBron has lost 6 times in the finals, or 7. I don't know how many times he's been in the finals now off the top of my head, but he's lost all the time. And I would always be like, yo, is it better if he missed the playoffs? Like, is it better if you don't make the finals?
Yeah.
Like, that would always be, and it was always crazy to me. It's like, you're slandering someone who got to the championship and lost. Would you slander him less if he got bounced in the first round or if he didn't make the playoffs? So, like, I don't get it, bro. You get to the championship. And I think what's happened with our generation, bro, I was thinking about this as we were driving in here because this conversation has been upsetting me so much, is I think we've been spoiled by greatness. I think Brady made it so fucking easy where he played in 14 AFC title games. I think if you're a soccer fan, Messi and Ronaldo just set the standard. It was like, bro, they just win the Ballon d'Or in the Champions League every year. Mm-hmm. It's going to be Madrid or it's going to be Barcelona. One of them two is going to win the Ballon d'Or, which is the best player in the world. Fucking basketball, LeBron's been to all these finals. We didn't really experience Jordan as much. Like, I got, apparently my dad told me, like, you've seen Jordan before. I was like, when? He was like, in 1995. I was like, I don't remember that, dude. Like, I can't claim that.
Saw him in a fucking Wizards jersey, Dad. Like, relax.
Like, dude, my first sports memory is the 1998 FIFA World Cup. France versus Brazil.
Was it the final?
It was the final.
Do you know
3-0 Zidane scored twice.
Date it was? Because that could have been the day I was born.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was the day I was born.
Somewhere in July?
July 12th. Let me look up.
Check how you're talking about this.
Facts.
That'd be crazy.
It would be.
That would lock in that we're best friends.
I was about to say, dude. Okay. Hold on. You said it was France versus who?
France versus Brazil in 1998, right? So I say all this because I feel like we've been spoiled by greatness, bro, where it just became so easy that we just think that's the standard now. It is? That's your birthday?
That's 100%.
Wow,
So my
dude. We're best friends, bro. Let's go. Fist. There we go. Hell yeah,
First
brother.
sports memory? Your
Yeah.
first sports memory is on my fucking birthday. Exact birth date, not just birthday. That's insane.
That's pretty cool.
Shout out
I'm
to
making
France.
notes. Dom, you're clipping this.
Yeah,
Dude, did we just become best friends even more?
100%. What the fuck?
But do you? How do you feel about that? I know we kind of went off on a tangent, but how do you feel about the GOAT debate in general, no matter the sport or the topic?
I really like the whole waiting until a player has retired, but I also think that you can cement it once they've been to at least 5 championships. If we're going to add stipulations, for me it's like, okay, we can't even approach this conversation till you've been to 5. Once you've been to 5, that is extremely rarefied air in my opinion. Because the lifespan of an athlete, you're talking about over 30% of the time they are at the top if they had a 15-year career. So I will make that stipulation for myself moving forward. I don't like to wait till after a player's career is over. How would we feel about Jordan with the way that he fucking ended with a fizzle with the Wizards? You know? And if we had to wait that long to be like, he's the greatest, that would be kind of like whack.
Mm.
And we probably wouldn't feel the same way.
Yeah.
We would, but it would be lessened.
Yeah. And then there's another part of me that's like, bro, think about how much hate LeBron gets because he's not the number 1 best to ever do it. He's number 2.
I swear.
Like, isn't it crazy?
It is.
Like, dude, you suck because you're not the greatest ever. You're second. It's like, bro, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing?
It's got to feel
To me, that's why I love saying Mount Rushmore. I
right.
feel like, if you're on the Mount Rushmore or something, that's pretty awesome. If you're in the starting 5 or something, Fantastic Four, keep it like
Right.
that. Like it's cool. It's an
Agreed.
There's been, bro, millions of people play basketball, and you're the second best to ever do it. I think we're being a little too harsh.
100%.
Being a little too harsh.
Isn't it crazy that Mount Rushmore itself is nowhere near the best Mount Rushmores that we create on the show? Like,
Yeah.
like every Mount Rushmore bar conversation that you've had is way better than the actual Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know who's on the Mount Rushmore.
Like the Mount Rushmore isn't good, so we should stop using the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Like that's what maybe the Mount Rushmore like is just bad things.
Yeah.
From here. It's like our Ursulita.
Bro, I couldn't even tell you. You're also talking to someone that like, I'm pretty dumb. I just work hard and have an amazing personality.
You think I know who's up there?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I think Teddy Roosevelt's one of them.
Now I got to look it up.
Teddy Roosevelt's for sure one of them.
Mount Rushmore.
I mean, but it's pretty average. And that's like, and we always say, oh, it's the Mount Rushmore of this. And it's like, Mount Rushmore sucks.
Abe Lincoln,
Okay.
Teddy Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington.
Nuts.
Pretty trash, bro. Be honest. Our Mount Rushmores are way better.
That's what I'm
Every Mount Rushmore I've ever put together, it's way better.
Come on.
It's way better.
Those guys?
Yeah.
How is they should if I was Obama, I would have been like, you add me right now.
Yeah.
Like that's just, I feel like if you're a president, you have the right to just put me up there too. We're adding another spot.
Or just get rid of it. Fucking put some C4 and blow that whole shit up.
Show that you don't give a fuck about the history.
Yeah, bro.
We're recreating.
You're talking to someone that I'm like, yo, if it happened before 1991, I really don't care about it.
I don't.
I get people angry like that. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Oh no, it didn't.
How many rings you have before 91? All right, cool, man. They don't count.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
All right, let's get into this these topics here.
Yes.
Okay, George. So the first team I want to discuss, and the first theme that I want to discuss is who is going to be next year's San Francisco 49ers. Now, what I mean by this, the 49ers this year missed the playoffs. Let's not wish injury on anyone, but year from hell. something we need to monitor next year. There were 2 year from hell teams this year. One of them ended up being one of the best records in the league, in the Vikings, who I thought was a year from hell, and then the Niners, who actually was the season from hell.
Right.
Like every good player there, besides their quarterback, got hurt. So who's a team you think next year is going to have a high win total? People are going to be excited about. Maybe they're going to be a top 6 favorite.
Yeah.
That you think misses the playoffs.
I like how you mentioned and you prefaced, like, we don't wish injury upon anybody. Unfortunately, like, that's what this comparison is.
Right.
And so I immediately just thought to the team that in recent history, the last 4 years, it just seems like they've been plagued by the injury bug. And that is the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Baltimore Ravens are, coming off of a year in which they met expectations. Obviously, it sucks to see Josh Allen in the divisional round. They should have been at least in the conference championship, and everything would have been slightly different with this take. It would have looked a little stronger. But the Ravens, to me, are a team that we're all going to expect to get 11 wins next year, in a division that is very difficult to get that double-digit wins. So the Ravens in the past years, you had the Gus Edwards thing. You had the year where Staley was hurt. You've had Lamar get injured on and off. It is J.K. Dobbins is another one you can add on to the list. Zay Flowers this past year. They're a team that is prone to not only having injuries, but like key injuries. So I have to pick a team for this spot. This one was the toughest one out of all the comps that we've had to make. For me, I'm like, shit, dude. This is the only factual way I can approach it, and it's the Ravens. What about you?
It's interesting you bring them up because they're the first team I can remember that had back-to-back years of injury hell.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was like 2022 and then 2023, and then that was one of the reasons why, even though I did say they were going to miss the playoffs last year, and they did start 0-2, they ended up making the playoffs, I thought that there'd be regression, right? You always got to remember how there's going to be regression to the mean. Like, so for example, I'll give you one right now. The team that lost the most players to IR this year were the Lions,
right?
Which is why it was so crazy that they achieved what they achieved. And I mean, shit, bro, did I not get you tired of hearing they're going to regress, the defense is going to catch up? And then it finally did. But it's like, well, you've been saying it for 12 weeks now, and it finally hit. Do you take the credit for it? It's like one of those things where it's like, if I pick, which I have, 3 straight years I've picked Joe Burrow to win the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to pick him again next year. And if it hits next year, it's like, did I call it? Or am I just chasing it now?
I would say you called it because it's the persistence that matters. Because think about it. You could have chose any player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what makes it special.
Okay.
It's not chasing, in my opinion.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. The teams that missed the most, that had players miss the most time this year: Lions, Saints, Browns, Bucks, Niners. Right? Least affected teams: Packers, Bills, Commanders, Falcons, Broncos. It's hard to go into a season expecting everyone to be healthy. My approach isn't that the injury. I wasn't weighing injury from my perspective. The team that I'm picking for this one, it's a little bit different. I'm leaning towards Minnesota.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of uncertainty, right?
For sure.
Are they bringing back Sam Darnold? This was a team that was like, they were bottom 10 in injury luck, which is a good thing, right? Like, they didn't have a lot of guys miss time. But is McCarthy the quarterback now? Is Sam Darnold? Now the schedule is a little different. Yep. Now we have more tape on Sam Darnold if he is the quarterback for you. I think Minnesota might be the team where you're looking at, you're like, damn, bro, this team won 14 games last year, and now they're 6-11, and they missed the playoffs. So I'm going to go with Minnesota.
I like that one. I mean, you're talking a game away from getting a number one seeded schedule, or first place schedule. And I also remember this year that they were the league leader in the turnover department. I think they had the biggest plus minus turnover differential. So they aren't going to be that lucky again. I did not select them because I like this choice, but I didn't select them for this because the way that the season ended, I just feel like the expectation isn't going to be as high as maybe what we thought for the Niners. I mean, the Niners were, for a majority of people, like a shoo-in to at least make the NFC Championship game. Do we feel the same way about the Vikings, like going into this next year? That's the only reason why I didn't put them on this. That's why I chose the Ravens as well, because I'm like, the Ravens, we expect to make it to the Super Bowl. But I really think it's going to rock us when things don't go as planned. Both are good. But that's what I thought.
Okay. No, it's fun, man. I really like.
What do you think their win total is going to be
for
the Vikings?
Shit.
Because you had mentioned 10.5 for the Niners.
So the Niners last year were 10.5. I think 9.5 from Minnesota will be the win total. And again, win totals don't come out until about the draft.
Okay.
So let's bookmark that. Let's see if we're right.
Yeah.
Let's have this in the archives.
For sure.
Vikings win total
9.5.
Let's see. Okay. Let me ask you for this team.
Okay.
Who's going to be next year's Commanders?
Ooh. This is the fun one. This was
the one that was the coolest.
Bro, half-court shot. That's what this one felt like.
Yeah.
The Raiders, for me, are going to be the Commanders of this year. New coach, new offense coordinator, new defensive coordinator, completely cleaning house of this Raider trash that has existed. Very similar to the Commanders.
Okay.
They are going to draft a quarterback, which is a huge plus in fitting this narrative. I think they get Shedeur. And I think now that they have Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, I'm getting remnants of what he did, or what he tried to do in Philly. But I think he might be able to replicate a little bit of that college quick style game. And it's exactly what Shedeur's been doing at Colorado and airing it out for the past 3 years. So I like that combination, and I like the freshness of it all. The offensive line wasn't terrible. Like, I really do think that they're rather stable, but they have no receivers. People hype up Amir Abdullah and Alexander Madison. They ain't it, bro. So they have enough cap space to go get a solid veteran piece at the running back position. And I think they need some solid corners too. Like, there's DJ Reed and Asante Samuel Jr. that I was like kind of fantasy booking that they could pick up. Asante Samuel Jr. would be a good one because it's in division. Yeah. So to me, this year's upcoming Commanders team is going to be the Raiders. What about you?
I like it. I like the case you made. I felt the passion. I couldn't disagree more though. They're a ways away.
Yeah.
They could probably fit the Panthers take that we have.
I got a good team saved for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went a little different.
Okay.
Maybe I have goggles for Mike Vrabel.
Oh my God.
I think the Patriots might be back. Not AFC title game all the time, but like way too early. I think there's going to be a lot of Pat's love on this show. I love Mike Vrabel. Drake May, I like.
Mm-hmm.
Might be the forgotten son in that draft class.
True.
Started later than everyone else. They have the most cap space in the NFL. They get Mike Vrabel, like we said. He inherits a second-year QB, which I love for MVP purposes. And also the quarterback makes that leap in year 2.
Right.
And there's a lot of candidates, right?
Mm-hmm.
they bring back Josh McDaniels, who, like, listen, bro, as a head coach, as a Batman, awful. As Robin, I like.
Yeah.
Brady has given him the cosign. And I can't stop looking at the fact that they have the most money in the league. Just load up on offensive line. T. Higgins, they're going after T. Higgins heavy. And again, I think Mike Vrabel is worth like 2 wins. I really think Mike Vrabel is a 2+2 in the win total. And they got pieces I like too, man. Like Christian Gonzalez. Yo, guess what, bro? We're going to bet him for Defensive Player of the Year next year.
I like that.
Corner just won it, and Patrick Surtain. All right. Again, way too early. I'm not saying that there's a shift and now DBs because like Pat Surtain came out of nowhere. But I like New England, man. The only thing that sucks is that they're in the AFC. And it's still Josh Allen is in that division.
Correct.
But, bro, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish as the 2 in that division. So I'm going with New England.
I am so glad that you mentioned them because you're like, I think they'd be a good fit for the Panthers. That's my Panthers team.
Okay.
So
The Pats.
it's a seamless segue into
Okay, so
it.
let's.
So
Do you want to explain what we mean by the Panthers?
correct. So a Panthers is a team that showed promise, but the following year they just won't be that good.
Yeah.
They're 2 years away is
Right.
the explanation
Yeah.
for the Panthers.
It's a team that showed promise, but like maybe they win 2 more games, but they're not a playoff team. But you like what they got. You like the building blocks that they have.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what
Correct.
we mean by who's the next Panthers.
And I think the Patriots fit that mold perfectly. I think that whenever you need to do an overhaul of your interior players, that's a year-long process of meshing it all together. Part of the reason why I thought Patriots immediately is just because of how trash the offensive line for the Panthers has been, as well as the Patriots. So I had to look at the stats. In the 13 games that Drake May played, he was sacked 34 times. And the 14 games that Bryce Young played, he was sacked 29 times. So it got slightly better for Bryce the second year.
Right.
You know, only 5 other times he didn't get driven into the fucking ground. But I know that Vrabel's gonna be an acquired taste for these guys. He's tough, dude. He gets the most out of his players, but a culture like that, we saw with Dan Campbell, it takes a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that's why when I said the Raiders are the Commanders from this year, I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I don't know. It's a clean slate, and you have a solid interior built.
You bring up a hell of a point about the changes that could be made because, like, bro, the Commanders had 9 new guys on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So they completely, or 8, I think it's 8 or 9, but like new offensive coordinator, new head coach, new DC, shitload of new assets. That's a way that you could turn shit around.
Correct.
Right? But again, how often does every single draft pick and free agent
Land
fucking
and
a
hit
home
go
run
away. Yeah.
in this case? And then you get I don't want to use the term generational, but you find a franchise quarterback,
Yes.
right?
Good job.
So
Good job. Yeah. Saving
I'm not,
yourself.
I'm not using generational.
Yeah, good job saving yourself there.
Yeah.
But okay, so who's your Panthers? A team that's 2 years away for this upcoming football season.
You know, for me, bro, I think it might be the Colts.
I like that.
The Colts have a lot of talent on their team. At least I feel like they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of guys on defense that are not household names, and they're ballers. At one point around like week 9 or 10, they had like 4 of the top 7 most tacklers in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Cross in the secondary, Franklin, the linebacker, a hybrid kind of plays like remember Tony? Yeah. Remember Tony Jefferson back in the day with the Cardinals and Ravens?
Yeah.
He used to be like up at the line of scrimmage, but then also would drop back and cover threes and shit. So he kind of reminds me like that kind of player. I think it's the Colts, man. I think they, until proven otherwise, are they happy with Anthony Richardson? They benched him twice. He can't play 17.
Yeah.
We talked about it. I think one of our best clips was that he's gonna dupe people for the rest of his career
With
because
that
with that throw he made week 1 against the Texans, where he slips and just like stands still, throws 64 yards, like a perfect throw, literally perfect throw, on the money. Wide receiver didn't break stride, nothing. But I think it's the Colts. I think the Colts might regress next year, but they still have all the pieces in place that you're like, damn, man, if they could only get this, a quarterback,
They'll be legit.
Let's go.
Yeah. And I mean, the market's going to be extremely interesting. Did you see, I know this is like a side tangent here. I think that the Colts fit perfectly. I was seeing if I can put them into any of these other comps we're making, but truthfully, I did not watch their games enough to be like, okay, this is a perfect match. But
you know why else I have them on? You want to know why else I have them on?
Why?
I'm bitter, bro.
Andrew
I'm
Luck?
bitter. Not just because of Andrew Luck. The Giants beat them. Why the fuck did the Giants have to beat them? Why couldn't the Colts just beat them? You're an 8-point favorite. Why? Why'd you have to do that? Why'd you have to make me miserable?
That's why you're putting him in this category.
Spiteful.
You fucking spiteful motherfucker. That is really bad.
I wish nothing but the worst for you for this next year.
God.
I hope you suck.
I hope Anthony Richardson throws one more really good pass.
Week
you guys
1.
signed an extension.
Week 1. Yeah. Let me ask you this one.
Okay.
Who's going to be next year's Buffalo Bills?
Okay. So explain your meaning behind the Bills.
Okay. So it's a team that makes a lot of changes to their roster. They still have a franchise piece. So let's look at quarterbacks. Maybe they lose players in free agency and everyone's down on them. Maybe the rest of the division gets better. And bro, America rallies behind them, right? Like everyone was on the Josh Allen, and Buffalo, such a fun team. They play Mr. Brightside in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Everyone's singing and dancing and chanting. And then they run into the Chiefs and it's like, man, Buffalo, you got to beat them. Like it's Buffalo versus everybody, kind of thing. So that's what I mean by Buffalo. Maybe they have the MVP.
I think you were a year early, and my comparison for that exact definition is going to be the Packers.
Wow, bro.
Is yours the Packers?
It's not, but I like it more than what I had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, then let's roll with it, bro.
Good.
I think
Talk to me.
Josh Jacobs, with what he did this year, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns behind a suspect offensive line. Wasn't like it was they were world beaters. If he was behind the Eagles' offensive line, I mean, he would have done the same exact thing Saquon did this year. Let's not fool ourselves. I think the real additions that we're going to see and roster moves are going to be to the receiver position. They're going to get some studs that like to play in the fucking snow, and they are going to get Jordan Love back on track to being a quarterback that we consider one when we're talking about top 5. Because when he's on, he's on. The back half of this year, he was insane. I think it was like a 6-game stretch without throwing a pick and having like 18 touchdowns or something nuts. I think that people love the Packers. I see them honestly being the team that faces the Eagles next year in the NFC title game, and everybody is going to be rooting for them to take down the big bad Eagles. So I'm choosing the Packers. Who did you have originally?
Bro, this one's so fucking good, dude. This is so good. For me, I had Seattle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, paint the fucking picture for me, bro.
All right, so hear me out.
Okay.
I had Seattle because I think Seattle has a lot of pieces that I like. I know Geno Smith is still the quarterback, but offensively, the 2 running backs, Metcalf, Jackson Smith in Jigba is going to be the next breakout star. Year 3, the wide receiver
JSN.
leap. Defensively, I think another year with Mike McDonald. Let's not forget he was the Ravens defensive coordinator.
Mhm.
I think he could have the kind of impact that like Brian Flores had with Minnesota. Bro, if let's just look at the trend of like Jet quarterbacks. Sam Darnold left the Jets, finds a landing spot. Geno Smith has been a guy that was a cast off with the Jets, bounce around, finds a landing spot. He has the weapons. If fucking Sam Darnold could be a 14-win quarterback, Geno Smith in the NFC, they're going to play a third place schedule.
Yeah.
I was high on them coming into the year. At one point, they were first in the division. Now, is America going to rally behind Seattle and the Seahawks? Probably not, like they did with Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Correct.
But man, I think next year they could be like a 12-win team. I really like Seattle. And it's going to be a little hypocritical of me because when we get to the next year's Eagles, it's a team that's in division.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like give or take. You can't have everyone. Remember Josh from American Fan 360?
Everybody's got 14 wins.
Every team won 13 games.
This
Like,
year
bro,
it
it's
would
not
have
possible.
actually worked.
This year
It was like one of the weird.
Yeah.
It was the weird
for
random
sure.
cases where you didn't get the
totally.
9 and 8s and the 8 and 9s. But no,
So do you understand though why I liked yours way better? Like Green Bay is a hell of an answer because also the Packers are like a fun, popular team.
correct.
They're not Seattle. Like sorry, 12th man, I don't see any Seahawks fans anywhere outside of Seattle.
Yeah, bro, they got left in 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
still thinking about Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. Is
you remember, right? LOB, you
LOB.
remember?
Yeah.
You remember? I like the third place schedule. That's the main thing that really also attracted me about the Packers too, because it's like which team can make a super deep run and you know who's led by a stud. Now, who would you say? I mean, do you really put Geno? Do I not respect Geno Smith enough? I think that's the issue. I wrote him off extra hard after he chose not to show up in big time moments after that big time moment. Am I wrong?
look, man, a lot of people have they get a new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, and I think that
Saints guy.
yeah, and the reports are that Geno Smith was a big reason why he wanted the job. So maybe he unlocks the potential, right? Another reason why I said Seattle is remember when Joe Brady became the OC for Josh Allen. If Clint Kubiak went to fucking Seattle because Geno Smith, he probably sees something that we don't.
True.
I'm like, yo, Geno Smith, he's pretty old now. He's 34. I say that. I'll be 34 in 3 weeks. But like for an NFL quarterback, he's up there. But he has a lot of talent around there. I'm telling you, yo, Jackson Smith, fucking breakout star. He'll probably be like 130-1 to win Offensive Player of the Year. I'm not getting that crazy. I do have a streak to
uphold here.
Yeah,
Nick.
yeah.
We can't just be going willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But like he'll be, I'll tell you this much. I think this time next year, you're looking at him as like a top 2 fantasy pick, top 2 round fantasy pick. Like I think he has a monster year this year.
Okay. All right.
So
All right. That's the one piece that the Packers don't have. Like,
a real number 1 wide
I
receiver.
would argue that the talent on the Seattle roster is better than what the Packers have. But we just think of Jordan Love as better than Geno Smith.
Yeah.
So we're both good. I'm glad you brought up Seattle because we don't talk about Seattle at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, let me hit you with one.
Okay.
Who will be this year's Eagles next year?
I think this one is an absolute shoo-in. I
Okay.
think it's y'all must have forgot about the 49ers.
I like this.
Look, I think they are the team to absolutely keep an eye on. In the 8 years that Kyle Shanahan has been a head coach, he's missed the playoffs in 4 of them, like this year. The following season, he went to the NFC Championship game. All those guys that we listed that got hurt this year, they're all coming back.
Mm-hmm.
For as much as a punching bag Brandon Ayuk was, he helped a lot for Brock Purdy. He was his deep threat down the field. Deebo Samuel wants to go. Cool. They got Ricky Pearsall. They got Jawan Jennings. Kittle is still productive. They'll get McCaffrey back. And if not, they have Jordan Mason.
Right.
Garindo. They're going to get the defensive guys back. You mentioned Robert Saleh going back over there. They're in the NFC. Now it's, yo, we're pissed off, bro. We were the darling the last couple of years. And y'all forgot about us, right?
Right.
Bet. They're 12-1 to win the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is in San Francisco next year. And not for nothing, man. Brock Purdy's going to be playing for a contract extension. Shady MVP pick. I love nothing more than betting on a guy who is going into a contract year. You saw CeeDee Lamb 2 years ago. Went fucking crazy. Had a strong case for Offensive Player of the Year. Cowboys won 12 games. Yep. And now you see Jamar Chase this year.
Yeah, 100%. Jamar's the best example.
It's the perfect example of a guy who is going to go absolutely apeshit this year. And Brock Purdy, if he stays healthy. And I just like everything, man. And guess what else, bro? They're the 6th favorite. They fit the mold of a top 6 favorite. Your Super Bowl winner is going to be from the top 6. So I'm going with San Francisco being next year's Eagles.
Yeah. I do want you to clarify, though. Do you mean Super Bowl champ, like, in its full entirety, or how the team was constructed and how they got there? It's kind of the position that I chose for my team that I'm comparing to next year's Eagles. I'm not making my Super Bowl. This isn't my Super Bowl winner.
Right.
But team that upon adding a piece could make like a serious run and that has been just on people's radars for the past 2 years. I like the Houston Texans in this spot. I think their division aligns for it. They should be another shoe-in winner. They've won playoff games in back-to-back years. They had a lot of key injuries this year, which I feel coming back off of that is going to bump them to now, let's say, a 12-win team. And I think that they can make a serious run with the type of defense that they have built and the leader of the helm that they have at that defense. The interior, they still need a D tackle that I feel strongly about, but I feel Will Anderson is a game wrecker. Azeez Al-Shaair, shout out to you for making that hit. Clip went crazy. Always love you for that. And I feel I feel like the Texans will be the Eagles of this year.
Well, this is where like the better in me comes into play, because this would be the year I would buy in on Houston. Last year I was off Houston.
Yep.
I picked Jacksonville to win the division. I thought the hype around Houston was it was crazy. It was crazy. They were the 3rd favorite in the AFC.
Yeah.
Let's chill. That's why Commanders fans, just be careful, because this is how we felt about Houston last year. And this is how we felt about C.J. Stroud. Now all of a sudden C.J. Stroud sucks. Last year it was, Pat Mahomes and then him to build a franchise. Like, you had crazy debates going.
Right.
So just be careful. But again, you buy low on the team now.
Correct.
And to your point, the division, they're probably going to go 5-1 in the division.
Yeah.
And you find 5 wins elsewhere, you're the 4 seed again.
Yeah, I mean they lost to a lot of the best teams last year, and their only 2 what the fuck losses were to the Jets and into Tennessee.
Yeah.
But Tennessee's in division, so it's like I don't really knock them too much.
Right.
But across the board, bro, I just feel like they're solid.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where it's like if we would have just realized that the Eagles were solid this year, we should have never had a doubt in our mind that the result, them winning the Super Bowl would have happened.
Yeah. I want to just answer your question where you asked me. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think again, way too early. I think they're the representative, though, of the Super Bowl.
Got it.
They have a lot of talent still on the team. But I do want to mention one more thing that when we recorded on Monday, if you guys haven't checked out that episode, please do the Super Bowl Fallout show. I don't think we really realized how special of an Eagles season this just was. Bro, this was historic. They lost week 4 to Tampa Bay. Week 5, they had a bye week. And in my opinion, they won 17 games in a row.
Yep.
Their only loss after that was to Washington, which they were up 2 touchdowns and then Jalen Hurts got hurt.
Yep.
And I think because of that game, we got the gift of -6 in the conference championship game because everyone's like, oh, bro, it was a 3-point game.
You remember
in division, they know each
close.
other. They got their shit punched in. Philly was on a all-time run. And I don't think we've really understood just how special this team was. And I don't know if they're ever going to be like an all-time great. It's now going to depend on what happens next year, right? If they go on and repeat or if they have another 14-win season, you'll be saying to yourself, this Philly team is like this core is wild because look, they lost a Super Bowl, then they won a Super Bowl, then they got back to a conference championship game or something like that, or got to a Super Bowl again. And we mentioned before early in the show, what free agents do they have that they got to worry about? No, everyone's paid on that team.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing it. If you're the Bengals, you're Joe Burrow. Hey, look into that. Why the fuck does everyone get to stay? Let's keep it. Let's see what's going on here in Philly. So I just wanted to mention that, man, because I don't know how many people have made that take, but I was just looking. I was like, yo, remember the WTF losses? We talk about that. Every team has a what the how'd they lose to them? They lost to the Falcons. Remember Barkley dropped the pass there, and then. You know, I thought our offensive player of the year ticket blew up in flames, but it didn't. This was the loss for them.
Yeah.
This was the loss for them.
How do you feel about my Texans as the Eagles comparison?
Again, the AFC, bro.
Okay.
The AFC.
I know. I really could not.
And I don't think they bring Stephon Diggs back. I think he ends up somewhere else because he was on a 1-year deal coming off of ACL. Now he's 31, 32 years old going into the season.
Yeah.
I'd be a little concerned there, but they got a stud. They got a stud wide receiver in Nico Collins, who you saw what he means to that team when he's out on the field. And
yeah, it's kind of tough after asking you that, after you just said they had the craziest fucking season of all time. So it's just tough to put it into perspective and to paint the picture. You kind of just have to have the dude off, right? They just have a dude at every position that we know. Like this Eagles team is going to be pretty memorable. There's a lot of like Chiefs defenders throughout the years that have come and gone that you kind of like don't necessarily remember, but we're always going to remember Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter. Zach Bond will be a name that we forget, unfortunately. And he's a hell of a player. But then on offense, you can name fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
everyone's gotten paid.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Let us know what you guys think of actually we got one more.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, we didn't do
we got one more. Who's gonna be next year's Tennessee Titans? Who's gonna have the number 1 pick? I have one that is going to be...
You're looking at it right here, baby. We're fucking tanking all season, dude. I cannot wait to see Kellen Moore struggle with Derek Carr. We're in cap hell. This is... I've been telling people, Nick, there's going to be an expansion team. There's going to be a team that moves out of the city that they're currently playing to fucking Guadalajara or wherever the NFL's trying to expand, and you're looking at it. The Saints will have the first pick next year. I'm not even tripping. Expectations have never been lower. Who's your Titans for next year?
Dude, that got me fired up.
I know.
I've never been more, I've never been more excited for a team that's going to suck than right now, bro.
I'm fired up for it. Maybe we end up in Great Britain. I don't know.
Yo, how about this? Ready for this? What if they tank and then they bring Archie in? Archie Manning, another Manning.
God, yes.
Yeah. And yo, look, I was getting cooked in that video I made, which was hilarious. Look, there's a couple of moments in my life where I'm like, I wish VM was a bigger platform. When I said that the Giants should have traded out of the number 1 pick, trade back, collect assets, and draft Archie Manning, everyone cooked me. Everyone cooked me. I got called racist because the 2 top quarterbacks are black. They're like, you don't want a black quarterback. I'm like, bro, the fucking best quarterbacks in the league right now are black. I just want a quarterback that's going to sign a fucking new contract with us. That's what I would like. 5 straight Super Bowl winners have had a New York Giant player that didn't sign a contract with the team go to them and then win the ring.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, JPP, Odell, Kadarius Toney.
Oh, my God.
Fucking Saquon Barkley.
Kadarius Toney. Piece of shit.
Piece of shit, yeah. Hey, piece of shit, man. Piece of shit. Just
Nobody
look up what he did on your own if you guys didn't see that. But I said I want them to trade back because we don't got nothing. And then someone on the radio, someone on one of the talk shows that popped up on my feed, he said it and he got praised for that.
Oh.
I was like, oh, look, maybe I do know what I'm talking about. We have nothing. We have nothing. With that said, you know who's going to be next year's Titans?
Who?
Oh, we're going viral, bro. You ready?
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys.
No.
Dallas Cowboys next year are going to have the number 1 pick. And maybe they get Archie.
It would be so fitting.
Who knows? But look, they got 2 guys that are taking up 40% of the cap.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with Micah Parsons? Do they re-sign him? Do they try to trade him? Has he told them internally, yeah, I'm not going to re-sign with you? Dude. Who knows? We don't know what's happening. I think that team is going to regress even more than they did this year.
It's just such a what the fuck head coach hiring too.
I didn't even get to that yet. The head coach firing screams we're tanking this year. We're going to tank. And then we're going to get a franchise quarterback in the draft. He fucking plays at Texas. So it's close in proximity.
Yep.
And then the year after we go and we get the splash hire. We go and go, yo, McVay, you still want to be in LA? Come over here, man. Come over here. Why not?
Yeah.
Be the head coach of the Cowboys. You're 40.
I picture it too. He loves going to
I think next year,
the cameras are.
Next year, listen, man, 2 years ago, I said the Pats were going to have the number 1 pick and they almost fucking had it. They were 1 game away.
Yep.
They were 35-1. And I was like, yo, they're going to have the number 1 pick. I don't know what Dallas is going to be, but we're going to fucking fire off on that bet when it comes available. The Dallas Cowboys will be next year's Tennessee Titans, number 1 pick in the draft.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun, Nick. And the first pick of the 2026 NFL draft, the New Orleans Saints select Archie Manning. Is it Archie? No, it's just Arch. I think you've been saying Archie.
I have been saying Archie.
Interesting.
It's Arch Manning. Kind of don't like it now. I don't like it now.
Is it Archie?
It's Arch?
It's just Arch.
It's just Arch. I don't like it.
He's Archie to us, bro.
He's Archie. Arch Manning, bro.
Oh, before we leave, the rumors, Matt Stafford to the Giants. Thoughts?
What are we doing, man?
Would you rather Aaron Rodgers?
Who did I not text back that I got this fucking permanent scar on my favorite team, bro? What girl did I do wrong? What punishment? What did I do to the football gods? Did I sell my soul for 2 Super Bowls in 4 years? And now it's just misery? I saw a graphic that was like Matthew Stafford, Tracy, Neighbors, Cooper Kupp if he came with Stafford. Who's stopping this offense? The offensive line, that's who's stopping it. What the reason why the best running back this year is not on the team anymore. The reason why Sterling Shepard wasn't on the team. The reason why Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't on the team. That's who's stopping it. This is what I meant by this would have been dope a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have I would like this move. If the Giants were a 10-win team and we could get a Matthew Stafford to push us over the hump, sure, I'm in. Because he's still got something left in the tank. Like,
Agreed.
bro, for as much as we love Philly, imagine if it doesn't fucking blizzard in the second half. I was nervous about my Eagles' futures
Oh, yeah.
in that second half against the Rams.
Yep.
And Stafford is a fucking baller.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be great in New York. I just don't want it now. I don't want it now. Because what happens? He wins 12 games and then he's 38. We're not ready to win a Super Bowl by any means. So that's why, to me, it's just,
I mean,
I'm just not excited about it.
yeah. And by the way, I don't think he fucking wants to go there either.
Yeah, why would you want to?
Like, that's the thing. It's not a destination spot. Like, I mean, I don't know which Giants fan was future booking this and just was like, hey, fly this on the graphic.
Well, they hired someone that has been with him, right? Like, he has ties to him.
Ah, okay.
Someone that they brought in, I think it might be the QB coach or someone on the offense has ties to him. And then the report came out that they're going to trade Cooper Kupp. And then Matthew Stafford's wife was like, if Kupp goes, then we're going. And
That's
we want
the
to
thing, dude. We got to start listening to his wife's podcast,
get the insight.
which is great, by the way. That's a great way to support your spouse. Just have them break the news. Can you imagine? Like,
Yeah.
that's how we get all our player free agency updates.
That would be interesting.
Just their wives' podcast.
That would be interesting.
It's too many podcasts to keep up with.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Hopefully it don't happen. I rather just they kept Brian Dable. Just keep sucking and let's see what happens. That's what I want.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Giants were going to get the #1 pick, bro.
No, they should have had it this year. Like,
We should have had it the past 3 fucking years, bro.
we should have. Yeah, we should have.
Ah,
Anyway, let us know what you guys think of all these team comparisons and yeah. All things veterans minimum are at veterans minimum. The idea of Matthew Stafford coming as
yeah. It was a horrible way to end the show. I'm sorry. Let's
we were
just talk
having
about
so much fun.
Colombia and the women and
I want to go. I want to go back.
Yes.
If I knew that the Wi-Fi was good down there in Medellin, I'd be there every month. Be honest. I could edit and produce from home, and could call in.
a little bungalow.
Yeah. You know, I go down there for the food and the culture. Everything else that they tell you is a lie. Don't listen to them. The internet is a lie. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. All things veterans minimum are at veterans minimum. Send us questions moving forward. We're going to be doing a lot of people's podcast style shows where you guys produce the show. You guys give us topics. I know we opened up the show with the NBA All-Star stuff, and that was a question from No Show Thomas in the Discord, but there's going to be a lot of those. We got really good feedback on the last one we did. So send us questions. It could be about anything, whatever you guys want us to answer and talk about. You guys produce the show in the off season. We got a lot of fun stuff planned for the next couple of months. George, where can they find you?
Facts. At Mr. George Carmona is where you can find me and all those cool things that we're going to be doing over the next couple of months. Super fired up, Nick. We are, it's T-minus a week and a half till competition time.
Yeah.
Competition time, brother.
Yeah, we're going to Portland next weekend. I'm competing in my first jiu-jitsu competition. We're going to do a vlog. Shout out Vlog Boys.
Yep.
We'll be vlogging it. And we'll put win, lose, or draw. We'll have all that footage up.
Facts.
Fuck yeah. Win. Yeah. We're podium, baby. Podium season.
Bro, if you don't win, I'm going to fucking hunt that referee down. Facts.
We go spin the block.
No, he tapped. No, my boy didn't tap, bro.
Yeah.
He fucking saw it wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
We're out of here.
Peace.
Element. I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.